Welcome back to the show. And on Easter Monday, the world was shocked by the news that His Holiness Pope Francis had passed away. Now, King Charles led with a tribute to Pope Francis, saying that he and Queen Camilla have heavy hearts following the pontiff's passing, as he paid tribute to the Pope's compassion and tireless commitment to people of faith. And as you know, earlier this month, the King and Queen were supposed to meet with the late Pope on their trip to Italy. However, those plans were cancelled due to the Pope's then ill health. In the days following the Pope's death, cardinals, pilgrims and world leaders descended on Rome to pay their final respects to the leader of the Catholic Church. And joining me now is writer and broadcaster Esther Krakue. Esther, what do we know about the King's relationship with the late Pope, and how significant was it for Prince William to represent the royal family at the funeral in Rome yesterday?
So we know that King Charles had a warmer relationship with the late Pope than, let's say, previous popes, like Pope John Paul, for example, because they had kind of shared humanitarian causes, particularly when it came to the environment and environmental stewardship, and also, the Pope's advocacy for migrants, which was also very near and dear to the King's heart. So he certainly had those sorts of leanings that were similar to the late Popes, and I'm sure he was grateful to have met him just 10 days before his death, even though they weren't able to carry out the activities on the itinerary because of his poor health. Now, we know that it's not tradition for a reigning monarch to attend the funerals of other world leaders. So in keeping with tradition, Prince William was obviously representing his father in the institution by attending the Pope's funeral. But it also sends another message, which is it seems like Prince William, as the Prince of Wales, is kind of gearing up a lot sooner than many of us expected for basically taking over his father's role as king. Now, we know the king is still battling cancer. There are rumours, unconfirmed, of course, that this is cancer that he'd probably have to live with. And at this moment in time, they're just basically managing it and trying to manage the spread and manage the symptoms. There's no real kind of talk coming out of Buckingham Palace about the idea that he'll be cured of it and be able to regain his normal health. I think this is just something about management, which is why it seems Queen Camilla is very adamant that the king needs to rest, because he cannot push himself too much with the kind of treatment that he's undergoing. We know that he had a short stint in the hospital, which apparently Prince Harry was unaware of, which had to do with symptoms relating to his medication. So all in all, it looks like we're seeing drip feeding of Prince William gearing up to take over the reins should anything happen to his father. And it looks like this was kind of a pivotal moment to show that, alongside it coinciding with the tradition, and that, of course, the reigning monarch doesn't actually attend these sorts of events.
Now, while a lot has happened in the last week, Easter Sunday was actually only a week ago. It was only last Sunday. And Prince Andrew, he attended the Easter service with the rest of the family. This is being condemned by some, but is there anything inappropriate about this?
Yes, ever the black sheep, Prince Andrew made an appearance with, Sarah Ferguson, his ex-wife, who he still remains very cordial with, and he, entered the chapel with Princess Anne at St. George's Chapel in Windsor, and then after the service, they had a private lunch in Windsor Castle. Now, we know that the king, after the service, had a bit of a walkabout around the church, and he greeted some of the Easter worshippers, also known as Christians, but we seem to be politically correct these days. But Prince Andrew seemed quite withdrawn. There was a member of the public that did say, "Happy Easter, sir," and it was alleged that he didn't actually respond. He just looked in this direction and then turned away. I think Prince Andrew is well aware that he's persona non grata, certainly for the royal family, but for Britain at large. And I don't think the rehashing of the Virginia Giuffre controversy, especially now following her tragic death this week, is something that he's going to take lightly or is unaware of. So he's really kind of just painted this quite withdrawn figure. Pictures of him looked quite uncomfortable, actually, in front of the church. He kind of just kept looking around, trying to find his place, which is probably quite an apt description of where he is now and how the mighty have fallen. I don't think there was anything inappropriate about it, because he wasn't there in any sort of formal capacity representing the royal family, which, of course, he can no longer do. I mean, he's as disgraced as they come. But this was a private moment with his family. His daughters were there, his ex-wife was there, the whole family was there, and they did have a private lunch afterwards. But any sort of image of Prince Andrew around the royal family, around the royal fold, always draws some sorts of news headlines, because people are always wondering, are they staging a comeback? Are they that tone deaf? But I don't think that's going to be the case.
No, fair enough.